I'd like to call our April 23rd Board of Supervisors meeting to order. Please stand and join with me in the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. All right, the first thing on our agenda tonight is our public input session. I will remind everybody that the public input discussion session can talk about anything that's not on our agenda tonight, just a reminder on that. So do we have a list, Don, or?
No
Okay.
sign-up sheet.
All right. Would anybody like to address the board? Yes, sir.
Hello, my name is Bailey Loving. I'm a resident of Lancaster County and a member of Northern Neck Electric. Last month, Northern Neck Electric Company started a fire that threatened my home and the homes of many others. By the grace of God, it was caught and put out in time by our local fire department. This incident was and is a big deal to me. If not for the quick action of our fire department, the conversations we'd be having here today would have been very different, especially given recent current events. Northern Neck Electric PR says that you'll hear a small explosion when a metal oxide varistor surge arrestor fails. I encourage all here to observe the shattered debris of the varistor that I have in my pocket. When that unit exploded in front of my home, causing a fire, the silicon carbide varistor fused together. They fused at about 2,700 degrees because of the heat that was produced. They said that they could not determine the cause of this fire and this failure. I will offer a theory. This was an older, unchanged unit whose moisture seals had failed. As the moisture entered the arrestor, it no longer acted as an insulator. The high voltage, the insulator of the high voltage, that it began to conduct it instead, thus becoming a resistor and heating up. This thermal runaway eventually led to the explosion and subsequent brush fire. This is not a new concept. Silicon carbide varistors are known to cause violent failure, and modern zinc oxide surge arrestors can as well when old enough and unchecked. I ask of this body today to request from Northern Neck Electric Cooperative a list of all silicon carbide surge arrestors on Lancaster land, a timeline for complete and total removal, a list of non-contact arrestor failures, and an after-action report on the brush fire at my house and any other non-determinate fires that they have caused. You may tell me that the State Corporation Commission has jurisdiction over the Northern Neck Electric Cooperative, but that doesn't mean that you can't ask. And if they deny your request, that may inform the public of the possible danger just as much as if they were to respond to you at all. Remember, Northern Neck Electric PR said this device operated exactly as intended that day, and that the fire hazard rating was very high on that day, just as the fire hazard rating is very high right now. I only hope one doesn't fail for no apparent reason, exactly as intended, and burn someone's life to the ground. To Northern Neck Electric PR, for a company that claims to care so fervently about its community, I'm glad to know that you can talk to a reporter but are incapable of calling me. If you wanted, all I wanted was for someone to act like they give a damn. And for the Northern Neck Board of Directors, per the bylaws, I asked them to nominate me to the Board of Directors immediately. Or I shall go get the 100 signatures necessary in order to join the board. I encourage everyone to get a thermal imaging gun. With these, you can check for thermal runaway on local insulators on any poles near your house to make sure that they are not going to explode exactly as intended. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Hey, Olivia,
Yes.
do you have a time?
Yep, I'm gonna run it.
Okay,
Yeah.
all right, thank you.
We can't get the automatic one to work
Okay.
right now.
All right,
So Olivia will have the time.
thank you. Does anyone else like to address the board? Okay, seeing none, is there anyone online?
Several people online, but no hands are raised.
Okay, thank you, Glenn. All right, public input session is now closed. I will ask that VDOT come forward with their report.
Good evening, members of the board. My name's Hunter Goodman. I'm the Assistant Resident Engineer for the Northern Neck Residency. Beside me is Mike Bryant. He's the Lancaster County Superintendent overseeing the maintenance operations. He is going to go into the maintenance highlights for this past month and go over what he's working on next. And then I'll finish up with the projects.
Nice to have you, Hunter.
Thank you.
All right, I think David sent y'all a report, and the only thing that I know of other than that is we've been doing some, roadside's been doing some brush cutting and tree trimming. If y'all want a list, I can get that to Don. I don't have it with me tonight. I just happened to think about that, so. Y'all have anything else for me?
Can I ask a personal question? It's not a personal question. So in the village of Weems, I noticed that, that a piece of equipment took up stripes, dug into the road, but then came right back and put the same stripes there. Why was that?
I'm pretty sure that's on the contract. We have thermoplastic lines, and they have to be eradicated before pavement. So
Okay.
the Village of Weems is on the schedule for plant mix, I'm pretty sure, for this year.
Okay,
So that's why. And then, so they just paint temporary lines to
gotcha.
maintain the safety of the traveling public, and then they'll come back and mill it up and repave.
That's what you've done along Route 3 out here too, it looks like.
Okay.
And they're in Northumberland working now, and I haven't looked at the 2 week, but they'll probably be coming here next, I think. We've got all kinds of schedules and stuff going on, and we have gone ahead of the surface treatment schedule and did some distributive patching, just try to get the road sealed up and everything before that comes through to just maintain the integrity of the secondaries.
Thank you.
I'd like to say this to you. Thank you for how you handle requests and complaints from the citizenships that come to us, how you get back in touch with them, explain things. I appreciate that. Thank you very much.
So as you noticed, we've been working ahead on our plant mix and Cape Seal routes. Like you said, Route 3 and others, we got to eradicate the thermo and patch, potholes so when they come and overlay a new mat, it won't have any issues down the road. The surface treatment should start up sometime in June, and those routes are listed on the report. Some of the ongoing and upcoming construction projects for the secondary 6-year plan, Route 707 Kenner Drive and Whitestone. We did have that on the 2026, but that did get bumped a year due to a higher cost estimate. There wasn't as much stone down as we initially thought, and that kind of drove up the cost, so we will have to wait a year on that to surface it. For Smart Scale, the Route 3, 605, Pinkersville intersection, I think that's a turn lane project. That will go to add this winter in 2026. And the other Smart Scale projects are a later add date of 2028. For HSIP, the Route 3 and Route 200 pedestrian signals in Kilmarnock, those can start at any time. That's going to give us 2 protected crosswalks in the town so that pedestrians can cross the road safely. The Oyster Creek Bridge replacement, so they are shooting for a June, July start date. They're currently working through some right-of-way acquisition and utility relocation. So that should start sometime this summer. And the other one that's ongoing, that a detour's in place, is River Road Route 354 for a culvert replacement. And the other ones are kind of further out. So that's kind of all that we've got going so far. Okay, yeah, and June 4th is the public meeting for the Oyster Creek Bridge replacement.
That's gonna be a Whitestone Fire.
Yeah.
When is that, June 4th, you said?
Yes.
Where is it at?
Whitestone Fire Department.
Okay.
And what time is that?
I'm not sure, but we can get back to you on that.
Will you email us the details when it's finalized?
Okay, any other questions? Any other? All right, thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you, have a good evening.
Have a good evening. All right, next on our agenda is an update on the school construction and activity. Update from Travis.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, we've had a good month as far as weather. The dryness is hurting some of our local farmers, but as far as school construction, it's been a big help to us, keeping things sort of clean in the building. This pictures from a month ago, something I like to do each month, and I just give you updated pictures. You can get to the next slide. You can see how far we've come with the canopy out front. Also notice the curbing is taking place on the front car loop. That's what you're looking at, and the bus loop will be to the right. This is just a drone shot of the canopy that's going to, they're installing that right now. This is the pump station. A lot of progress on the pump station over the past month. Pumps are in place, and I think that might be the next bit more. You can see the piece coming out of the floor there. It needs to be hooked up, and just a few more parts and pieces going in, but I'm imagining that'll be live within the next week or so. There's just some of the electronics that are on the back side of the pump station. There's a canopy that's been installed. It's in between the restrooms and the concession stand, close to the football field. This will be the main entrance into the athletic complex. The kitchen equipment has been installed. You can see the floors down, so a lot of progress there. This is in the gym. This is a divider that's been installed in the gym. You can see the scoreboards are up. Most of the high work's been done at this point, and I believe the flooring's going to show up next week, so we should start on the gym floors as soon as next week. I think the wood needs to sit in there for a week or so, just to acclimate before they can start installing that. Just to give you an idea of a typical classroom on the back, to see how far along we are on floors 0 and 1. We're a little bit further along. On level 2, we got a little catching up to do on level 2, but we knew that. So it just gives you an idea. We get some flooring down, some base molding, and this classroom is pretty much ready to go. This just shows some of the architectural details. It's a good sign that some of these finishing touches are taking place. So they're installed some of the finished lighting, some of the wood slats that are in the end of the hallways. I believe you're looking out towards the football field out of that window. This was the concrete seat wall that was installed this week, and so it's an outdoor classroom where the students can go outside, have class, and just a place to congregate close to the building. Just a few more drone shots. This shows you the seat wall in relationship to the building, and some other work. So this is my DEQ shot. I love you. She likes these. So we got dinged a little bit on the last DEQ report on some of the grass that's going in. I drew this square in. We're in the process of siding that. We had 1 truckload installed today. We got 5 more to put in tomorrow. So Susan might not get anything done this weekend around the house. But anyway, we're working on that. So hopefully that'll be all finished. And this is just to show you guys the curbing machine. It's pretty impressive. These guys can come in a day's time, get most of the curbing done around the school. Yesterday was Earth Day, and we had students out along with the Virginia 250 trailer. Collaboration with Friends of the Rappahannock. Students got an opportunity to participate planting trees at the school site, and they were very engaged with us and wanted to do it and were proud to do it, so it was a neat day. And it's just to give you an overall view. It's been a while since the pond looked this nice, so I wanted to take that shot. It's been so dry, but we got grass coming to Olivia, so good pond days are in our future. Any questions?
Got a way to water those trees?
We do, and they gave us some bags, some gator bags, I believe they call them. But Ranson's is willing to help us with that as well, and they've got a cart, but they need it. So, yeah, I was looking at them today, and so we need to hop on that.
How many trees did we plant?
I think they got about 30 in. There's some places on the site, Bill, that they couldn't get to, but the grant was for 250 trees, and that was the reason for the Virginia 250 trailer. All that stuff sort of tied together. We got 250 trees in the grant for the Virginia 250 thing. And it was really neat. The guys from the Department of Forestry were there and spoke to the kids, and they were engaged. And so it was a neat day.
So we're going to plant the remaining trees?
Ranson's is going to help us with those. Yeah, I think the students, they're good now.
That's good.
Any questions? Paving starts as soon as next week. I know everybody's worried about the track. Very soon, we're going to have track down. And the solar people will be starting as early as tomorrow. So we'll see some progress on that on my next report.
Thank you, Travis.
Thank you.
All right, next item on our agenda is John with an update on our county parks projects.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Members of the board, provide you an update on the various parks projects that are underway. Westland Beach, as you know, was opened back in November. It's complete, but I was there this weekend after our Harpers Creek event to kind of document how that park is being utilized. Just real quick, there's some updates. Fish cleaning stations are going to be plumbed here very shortly. Supplemental dredge and beach nourishment is targeted for the end of May, as well as the dune revegetation. Again, there's going to be a planting and oyster restoration event on June 5th. It's sponsored by Friends of the Rappahannock, Docks of the Bay, the Marina, and the Tiki Bar. Yeah, this was Saturday around 2 o'clock in the afternoon. You can see the beachgoers. Quite a lot of people there utilizing the beach. I got some families with their kids playing in the sand. And I've noticed via our camera a lot of fishermen out there utilizing our fish cleaning stations. We installed monofilament containers for fish and line to keep those from going into the river. Some more folks utilizing our fishing pier. So the park's getting a lot of use, and I regularly go on our live Earth Cam and look, and it's got a lot of activity. I think recently been having discussions internally about how we're going to maintain porter service during busy hours. Any questions on Westland Beach?
Did you look into the cameras?
Yeah, Mr. Lee, when you hit the live button, it's a little finicky, but it is a live shot. If you pay real close attention, you can see the water, and the camera will pan on its own occasionally across the entirety of the project or the park. But when you hit that live button, it should. Harpers Creek Park and Working Waterfront Complex opened this Saturday to great fanfare. We had about somewhere between about 120 and 150 people show up. Still Kicking Seafood. The county purchased some steamed crabs from Still Kicking Seafood. Steamboat Wharf Oyster Company was out there, and a couple food trucks. But the site and roadway work is completed. An access ladder was installed on the courtesy pier for when the tide is low. It was kind of difficult to get in and out of the boat. So these are some pictures from our grand opening. This is our new park sign. A very similar, almost identical sign will be going in at Westland Beach here pretty soon. I'm sorry, Windmill Point County Maritime Recreational Campus. Some pictures from the ribbon cutting ceremony. Thank you, Mr. Bellows, for your great remarks. These are some folks, revelers enjoying some crabs. These are the crabs for sale. Again, reminder, Still Kicking Seafood is open for business. You can give them a call and find out when they're open. There's them steaming our crabs. Again, we had Steamboat Wharf Oyster Company from down the road come and provide free oysters in exchange for tips. In my opinion, some of the best tasting oysters you can find in the area. And then Dredge was there with some fried oysters. Cocina del Mexicano was there with their food truck. You can see how many people were enjoying the fishing pier and checking out the fishing pier. We even had some families making their first memories at our new park. And on that, we got some free promotion from a social media influencer, Patricia Clement. She goes by the Riva Sister, and she made this great video, posted it on Facebook and Instagram. I'm going to try to play it.
The Northern Neck of Virginia is rich in history, especially when it comes to the seafood industry. A major goal for Lancaster County was to create more public access to the water, and I'm so excited to see that come to life at Harpers Creek Waterfront Park. Everyone has access to enjoy a free fishing pier, clean restrooms, boat ramp, and opportunities to buy and enjoy fresh, locally caught seafood. Stay tuned, this is just the beginning. There's so much more to come.
So as you guys can see, you guys are creating a lasting legacy. That's it on Harpers Creek Park. Any questions? Taylor Creek Park, clearing has commenced and the access road is under construction. There's a groundbreaking ceremony scheduled for this Monday, April 27th at 3 p.m. on site. And just a reminder that we're anticipated to complete the project, target October of 2026. So here's our new park sign that'll be erected here shortly prior to the groundbreaking ceremony, courtesy of Creative Designs in Irvington. And here's some of the clearing and grading that's happening for the access road. These are courtesy of Bay Design Group, our engineering firm. That's the update for Taylor Creek. Do we have any questions? All right, Carter Cove County Park, there's a pre-construction meeting May 8th. And again, construction period is targeted between May and February of 2027 with an opening in spring. That's about all I have on Carter Cove at the moment. We'll have some pictures for you once we get started. I think there's we should have some pictures of the pre-construction meeting. And I'm going to try to get some drone shots showing the site currently as is so we can show before and after photos. Chesapeake Trail Park update, we've had some movement on this. Preliminary plan for the ADA compliant trail and parking is underway from Bay Design Group. The joint permit application for the ADA compliant launch and it was submitted and will be heard at the June 11th Wetlands Board meeting. The completion of the JPA review process will complete the NEPA for this project, and then we can really get going in earnest. The existing observation decking will be demoed and replaced at a later date. This is some of the preliminary plan that's been created for the improvements at the park. This is some markings that Bay Design Group's put in. You can see the existing landing observation platform that I mentioned will be demolished at a later date. This is the area going down towards the water and then out to where our ADA canoe kayak launch will be. Just a really pristine, beautiful place on the upper reaches of the western branch of the Corazzone River. And I paddle myself. I can't wait to access it, utilize it. Any questions on Chesapeake Trail? Hills Quarter Tennis Park, Mr. Cornwell has provided MOUs, and we're waiting review and comments from the Racket Association, Dead Rise Disc Golf, River Roots Discovery Gardens, and Dream Chasers United. Again, Bay Design Group provided some facility details for the racket court facilities to facilitate grant applications to the Tennis Association and Pickleball Association by the Racket Association. Triway Trail update, some really big news. One on Phase 1B, Middlegate to Compass. We have interviews scheduled for respondents to our RFP. Those respondents were Timmons Group and Kimley Horn. Both entities have extensive experience with multimodal trails and shared use paths, and I think we're very fortunate to have gotten proposals from them. Learned yesterday, the Commonwealth Transportation Board met and approved the VDOT application for Phase 1C, setting aside $2.8 million to be included in the 6-year plan, and look forward to having that phase of the project run concurrently with Phase 1B. Again, planning and acquisition focus is on Phase 2, Kilmarnock to Harris Road, Compass to Irvington Town Commons. Phase 2 right-of-way and preliminary engineering is underway. We have a scope of work and are under contract with Bay Design Group to do that. And are working with JROTC and volunteers to maintain the trail and, keep it cut, keep it cleared. That's it on the Triway Trail. I wanted to provide you an update on our parks website. Glenn Rowe has done a really excellent job of updating the landing page for our parks. As you can see here, I'll kind of give you a little bit of a tour. Each park has a heading where you can find information on each park. There's a map, that interactive map showing where our parks are, and this is where our live beach cam. And Mr. Lee, for your edification, when you hover down here and press the live, again, it can be finicky. When you press the live button, it does. Oh, zoomed in there. Just to show you one of these landing pages, we'll go to Harper's Creek. Gives you a location, water body, the available amenities. We need to update that. It's currently open, but hopefully we'll be able to add more content and link access to virginiawatertrails.org, which is another website that shows the various water trails in the county. And that's all I have on parks update. Is any questions?
Any questions, anybody? All right, thank you, John.
Thank you.
Oh, did you have something to say right
Oh,
now?
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. That Bruce Julian, the chairman of our Public Access to Waters Work Group, had a few comments to make.
Sorry, John.
No, it's my fault.
I'm the high-paid guy here. I just want to touch on a couple things and express some words of appreciation for what's going on in this county. And maybe pick on Bill Lee a little bit. Pick on my district supervisor, because I was told this week that I live in the benchmark district of the whole county. I'm not sure what that is, but I know where a benchmark is.
It's District 5.
I think two topics I want to touch on real quickly, just a couple, 3 minutes, Mr. Chairman, is to always ask ourselves, are we headed in the right direction to help the county be a better place for all citizens? And secondly, are we budgeting sufficient funds and staff to take care of our public assets that we're building? Now, about 5 years ago, I was riding along with Mr. Lee, and I volunteered. Some people assert that I was drafted, Mr. Lee, but to assist the board to implement Chapter 5 of the Comprehensive Plan. And we are on a pretty fast road, Don, I think you'll agree, to implement the entire chapter here in a couple years. But I think just to recap the two recent events that John's talked about, during spring break, when the schools were on spring break, I was on that camera down at Windmill Point multiple times a day. The parking lot was overflowing. More people were down there than the parking lot would hold. And just what I witnessed, families having picnics. John showed you the pictures, kids digging in the sand, Lots of people on the fishing pier, not necessarily fishing, but just enjoying the water. Smiles were everywhere. Then last Saturday, as John's told you, over 100 people show up. And Don, you can check me on this, but I'm not sure 100 people have ever showed up for anything this board's ever sponsored, not even to protest. All plans require the commitment of resources, and we are fully dedicated, if we are fully dedicated for implementation. Resources include the appropriation of funds and the people committed to complete the job. The comprehensive plan and strategic plan, known as Lancaster 2035, guide those critical decisions of funding and staff priorities by the board and Mr. Gill. Meeting and planning and talking is easy. Implementing is much more difficult and occasionally unpopular. Whether federal, state, or local government, we're really good at building things. We're not so good sometimes at taking care of things we build in our infrastructure. There's already substantial public facilities in the county to care for, and the parks in process will likely double the need for janitorial services, John's mentioned, and grounds care and additional operation. This is a unique time to create private sector jobs, which I think are in process, to help us take care of those parks. So I want to ask the board to ensure that we have appropriate funds provided to take care of the infrastructure we are using in public funds. Attached to my comments tonight, which I'll give you a copy of, is that one page out of Lancaster 2035 that was so hard worked on by so many citizens to ensure that our parks and our facilities stay as nice and as functional as the day we dedicate them. I'm going to let you review that and take that home with you, so I'm going to give you some homework. In closing, I am thankful for each member of this board and the county staff have a vision for the future that will ensure a better life for all. In looking to the future, you have recognized the need to support and fund several critical capital improvement projects that will ensure a bright future for both the current citizens, future citizens, and lots of visitors. Mr. Lee, no one can deny we're past talking. He used to tell me that. We just talk, and we never do anything. Together, with the community support, we're now doing. Thank you for your public service to ensure the county continues to be a better place for all. John, you've already mentioned the upcoming, and things are really rocking and rolling now. Thank you, staff. Thank you, board.
Thank you.
Thank you, Bruce.
Thank you.
All right, next item on our agenda is the proposed fiscal year 27 county budget. And I'll turn that over to Don to present that.
Mr. Chairman, the synopsis page was in the paper advertised for the proposed FY27 budget. That budget is a result of 6 prior budget work sessions that this board conducted. The Code of Virginia, Section 15-2-2506, says that you must wait at least 7 days after the public hearing before you can adopt a budget with or without modification. The aforementioned code section also requires that the county budget be adopted by July the 1st. You previously chose your regular meeting on May 28th at 7 p.m. as the date and time for adoption of the proposed budget with or without modification. This budget includes a 3% raise for all full-time county staff. That mimics what the state will approve in their budget when they finally get it approved. It'll either be 2% or 3%, but over the biennium, we'll match the state. This budget also includes 7% health insurance increase, which the county is absorbing. It's not passing that along to our employees. Our employees will pay the same thing this year that they paid last year. So there is a 7% health insurance increase that the county is absorbing in this budget. In this budget, you directed me to also include a hazardous duty supplement for our emergency medical services personnel. Currently, our law enforcement staff has that hazardous duty supplement, but you authorized me to include that for our EMS folks as well, so that it's a $232,000 expense to the county to add 15 EMS folks to to that, that supplement. We've had 6 budget work sessions. I don't know what else I can say about this. You all directed me to build the budget that was advertised, assuming a 60-cent real estate tax rate, which is 5 cents above what it currently is at 55 cents. And the personal property tax does not change. It remains at $2.04. The public hearing tonight is for the budget. Lancaster County does things a little bit different than other counties. We also set our tax rates by ordinance, which requires us to hold a public hearing for that. We'll hold a public hearing in May on the tax rate ordinance. As you know, you can always adopt something lower than what you've advertised, but you cannot adopt anything higher than what you've advertised. So in Lancaster, basically, we're giving the public 2 public hearings to discuss the budget and the tax rates. In a lot of other counties, it's only 1. So with that, I'd be glad to answer any questions you have before the public hearing.
Does anybody have any questions? All right, hearing no questions, I open the public hearing at this time to comment on the county 2027 budget. Would anyone like to speak? Yes, sir.
This budget include the school, this raises for the schools?
It does, yes.
Are you guys gonna, every year when the superintendent asks for $1 million, you gonna keep on giving it to them and get back what we get back? A 30-some% fail rate? I think the last published number I saw. And nobody's ever held responsible. You just dish out that $1 million every year for raises. You reward them, and nobody's ever held accountable for the product we get, and the taxpayers have to fund. Never saw anybody bring that up. What I am. No, I can't get any comments on that tonight.
The school board,
Evidently not done.
school board budget was adopted on April 9th.
Well, but I'm, all right, well, it still fits. It'll fit next year, because it'll happen next year. It happened years in the past. I want $1 million, you give it to them. We get nothing in return. We get bad numbers. The published numbers I see from superintendent's reports. Okay. No, I'm not the only one that notices it, and I hear it a lot in conversations around the county. So people are paying attention. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, I can only speak for my household, and I had 3 kids graduate from Lancaster County, and all 3 of them went to college, and one's in graduate school now. So I think it's very successful. I don't know about that 37% fail rate. I'm not sure how accurate that number is, but I'll ask the superintendent about that number.
That was the published number I saw for math and reading, I thought.
That was for the SOLs, right? That was for the SOLs, correct?
Anyone else? Yes, sir.
Charlie Costello, District 2. I feel I can talk to the schools thing. We haven't tutored for a couple of years. I guess they figured we're aged out of tutoring. Came back to kids, you know. But anyway, you know, with 7 kids, public schools, not here, but other places, it takes teachers. It takes good teachers. And we've had good teachers. And we're now growing our own teachers coming back. There's a picture of Destiny Carter and the choir and the people giving her money to raise that choir and bring it back. That's a lot of commitment. And I think you're going to get more people when we can raise the rates and bring them back
to teach here in the county and grow our own. I think that's where things need to do. I'm proud of Ms. Davis. I've known her for damn near 30 years, ever since she came here as a young teacher. She puts in a lot of time, a lot of effort, and they all do. And I'm proud of Bruce over here for what he's done in Honcho and getting these things done. We are moving in the right direction. I've been here 36 years, and it's been the best 36 years of one place to live. How much is this going to cost me? The 5 cents on mine? $255 and change a year. Figure it out. That's a thing of about $1 a week coming out. It's less. We pay money for other things not as important. I just spent $1,000 on my 3 old cars. Had to do it. You got to do it. And yes, I know it's 3 minutes. But I think we'll be okay because you all do a good job. You've worked better with the schools than we've had in the past. And I think all of you working together is far, far better than we used to be. I once put my hand in my wallet and threw it at Butch Jenkins. He caught it. I don't know if you guys were here or not. I know Don was, But it's got to come from somewhere. Things go up. We're paying higher for everything. So who's going to pay for it? Us. We live here. And we're proud to do it. Thank you.
I'll catch your wallet tonight.
You gave it back.
Anyone else comment? Yes, ma'am.
Catherine Bennett, District 2, completely unprepared, but I wanted to tell y'all, I am thrilled with the direction this county is going. This is so wonderful, and we have to put money out to do all this. The parks are excellent. The support that y'all give the community organizations is fabulous. These groups can't exist without it. And just this week, I had my first experience going into the elementary school or primary school, whatever it's actually called. 4th grade has invited a group that I'm in, the Daughters of the American Revolution, to participate in their history of Virginia and American Revolution. And I was so blown away with how beautiful that school is, how excited the kids were, how the teachers were just engaged and wanted to do so much with helping the kids get excited. We recently gave an award to now a 6th grader who got turned on to history in 4th grade. Oh my gosh, it is so thrilling, and Lancaster could be very proud of everything that y'all are doing. I am blown away with it. So I do hope that when this building becomes available, that you'll consider doing letting the community use this room and then the 2 original wings for a visitor center and a museum. And I'm just putting that in as a hope that we can do some things like that. Gloucester has done a beautiful job in converting their old building to something like that. And I think there's a lot of need for that, and we could be very proud of using this beautiful, one of America's most beautiful courthouses to showcase as a visitor center, a little gift shop, that sort of thing. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Is there anyone else who'd like to address the board? Glenn, is there anyone online? Okay. I would like to, before I close the public hearing, I'd like to add to what Mr. Smith said. Our family has lived here all of our lives. from my parents' early days. My sister and myself both attended public schools all the way through our education, attended colleges, four-year colleges after that. Both of our children, she had a son and daughter, and I had a daughter, who all went to the public school system here and all got a quality education after this system. So I know it can work, but it takes work from everybody. It takes work from parents. It takes work from the county. It takes work from the teachers. So I know it can be done, and I hear your concerns there. Many of them are very valid, but I do know that this system can work, and I'd like to close with saying that. Thank you. All right, no other comments. I close the public hearing. All right, next on our agenda is an application for special exception by Mark, Frank, Tazalar, and Robin Gray Tazalar to operate an unhosted short-term rental at 91 Greenvale Creek Road, Lancaster, Virginia, tax map 20G-3-5 in District 1. Thank you, Andrea.
Thank you. Based on the information provided by the health department, for this property, the existing septic system can support a two-bedroom home. The applicant has provided an adequate parking plan as well as insurance. There is a certificate of occupancy on file with the county. This is an existing short-term rental, and it is registered to operate with the county for the 2026 calendar year. The property is hosted through Airbnb, and the transient occupancy tax is automatically collected and sent to the county. This issue has been advertised and adjoining property owners notified as required by law. To date, there are no complaints or comments on file regarding this short-term rental special exception application. I believe the applicants are on the Zoom. I don't believe they are here in person. So they are here to answer, I believe that they are here to answer any questions you might have, as well as I will if you have any for me. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Andrea. Are there any questions from anyone before we open the public hearing? Okay, hearing no questions from the board, I move that we open the public hearing. Would anyone like to speak on this matter? Okay, seeing none, is there anyone online, Glenn?
No, sir.
Okay, I move that the public hearing is now closed. And I'd like to make a motion to accept this special exception by Mark Frank Tazalar and Robin Gray Tazalar to operate an unhosted short-term rental at 91 Greenvale Creek Road, Lancaster, Virginia. All right, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. All right, next on the agenda is an application, I lost my spot. Application for special exception by Samuel Longo and Nicole C. Longo to operate an unhosted short-term rental at 129 Boathouse Cove, Kilmarnock, Virginia, tax maps 29A-1-23 in District 3. Thank you.
Thank you. Based on information provided by the health department, the existing septic system can support a three-bedroom home. The applicant has provided an adequate parking plan, as well as liability insurance. There is also a certificate of occupancy on file with the county. This is an existing short-term rental, and the short-term rental is registered to operate with the county for the 2026 calendar year. The property is also hosted through Airbnb, and the transient occupancy tax is automatically collected and sent to the county. This issue has been advertised and adjoining property owners notified as required by law. To date, the county has received several complaints and comments regarding this special exception application, some of which were included as part of your memo pack. There was an email that was received this morning that I believe that you all received as well, but a hard copy was placed in front of you before the meeting. Again, I believe the applicants are online on the Zoom, so they are here to answer any questions that you may have, as well as myself. Thank you.
Okay.
Got a
Thank
quick
you.
question before you.
Yes.
There were some comments about the, I guess, the dates of the mailing. Can you comment on what the protocol is in the county's mailings to these notifications, and then versus the timing it comes to the board?
Sure. So for the public hearing part of a special exception application, there has to be notification placed in the newspaper for 2 consecutive weeks prior to, as well as adjoining property owners, adjacent property owners, and those immediately across the street that must be notified within, or 5 days prior, at least 5 days prior to the meeting. I generally add a couple of days to that. So in this case, the mailings went out on April 15th. And those mailings are by, I believe, by first-class mail.
It's per the code, section 15.2, 2204 of the Code of Virginia.
Yes. It's a 5-day requirement, an advertising requirement. And Andrea has advised us that she has met the requirements under the code.
Yes, and part of, I think, what's in that code is that whoever is doing that needs to provide an affidavit to that effect and keep it as part of the file, and we do have that as part of the file
And we can
for
control-
inspection.
We can control some things, but not those things.
Any other questions before we open the public hearing?
Yeah, did you say this was an existing short-term rental?
Yes.
Okay.
There haven't been any reported police incidents or anything?
No, I did check with the dispatcher, and they provided, she provided an email saying that she went back to 2022, and there was nothing there. I believe that the folks purchased the property in 2022, 2023.
Okay. Anything else before we open the public hearing? Okay. All right. We will now open the public hearing on this application for special exception by Samuel Longo and Nicole C. Longo to operate an unhosted short-term rental at 129 Boathouse Cove, Kilmarnock, Virginia. Tax map 29A-123 in District 3. Is there anyone who would like to speak to this matter?
How you doing, Mr. Chairman, members of the board?
Good, thank you.
Richard Allen, 109 Boathouse Cove, so we're a neighbor. I'd like to start with Mr. Bruce's opening comments. Ask yourself every day, are we doing what's best for the citizens of this county? I believe I might not be word for word, but that's what he said. Well, Boathouse Cove is exactly that. That is citizens of this county. The majority of the people on Boathouse Cove, this is their permanent residence. We live there. We raise our families there. We've got a number of people in the back. They've been there since the 60s. This is their home. This isn't a vacation spot. There's a lot of places in this county that are weekend residents. This is not the case with this situation. This is people's homes where they raise their family, where they enjoy the neighbors. It's a tight-knit community. I guess another thing is pretty irrelevant, but just so you understand the community, it's tight. I mean, we probably wouldn't pass for today's R1 standards. We're on the property lines. We're close with each other. And we have a good bond with each other. You know, I think they say there's a time and a place for everything. I'm for free enterprise, but this is not the place for Airbnb. If we wanted to live next to a hotel or a rental property, we would have moved to Nags Head or Virginia Beach and lived on the oceanfront beside properties. That's not why we're here. We're asking for a special exemption that tells you right there, is it really right? Is it really right for somebody that's living in a residential district to have a hotel next door? I'll just really ask y'all to consider the families that raise their kids and live their life in this neighborhood. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, Board, my name is Jerry Starcia. I live at 145 Boathouse Cove. I'm the author of the email from this morning. I apologize for sending an email at the late date, but I didn't get the letter in the mail until Monday. My suggestion would be on future notifications that maybe we push the 5 days to more, so we have a few extra days to get this, because the mail is a little bit inconsistent. But anyway, it came early in the week, and neighbors all got together to come here and speak with you. I would just echo what Richie said. My wife and I moved down to Kilmarnock 3 years ago. We've lived in Virginia for 25 years. We love Virginia. We love Kilmarnock. We were really surprised that there was an allowed Airbnb use. And our covenants speak to this very specifically. In two different places, it says, no commercial use, no commercial use. And so we were surprised by this. And so I think back to what Richie said. We got here invited to a welcome neighbor barbecue, just like you were hoping for. The neighbors are helping each other out. You know, somebody's got a shovel out or a tractor out and needs a hand, and all of a sudden people just flock there. And that's for us what Kilmarnock is about and what Lancaster County is about. And so we really appreciate being here, and we've had some issues with the Airbnb next door. And I think to Rich's point is correct. It's not a vacation location. This is a family neighborhood, and in the family neighborhood, one location is dropped in the middle that just doesn't fit. And so I would just say that you know, you're kind of our last best hope here in terms of trying to work out something with the current property owners. And so I would just hope that the board could help us with this. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Members of the board, I am Margaret Brown, and I reside at 101 Boathouse Cove. I'm 2 houses down from this property in question. I've been in my home since 1978. It's also part of my husband's family land, so it goes way back for many generations, the property to the left of this house. I oppose allowing the short-term rental in our neighborhood. The houses are close together, the lots are very narrow. I live alone now, my husband has passed, and to be honest, I'm very uncomfortable that we are going to have a continuous flow of strangers into that neighborhood. My neighbors have expressed how we are a close-knit family that live there. We look out for one another, and to have a short-term rental smack in the middle of this small neighborhood is just something beyond I can comprehend. So I do support the neighborhood and the concerns that we have, that you all would continue to allow something like that in our neighborhood. And I respectfully ask that you vote no to extend that to the request. Thank you.
My name's Scott Mapes. I live at 110 Boathouse Cove, directly across the street. And I'm the new kid on the block. I've only been, I started working at Windmill Point in the 70s when I was a boy. If the park's got to take up any beer cans on the beach, they're not mine. I look directly out at the house.
So the grass is unmowed, but it's not a short-term rental. The same truck and the same trailer are there 20 days a month. And so somebody's running a contracting business out of the place. And I see the truck and trailer around Kilmarnock and around the Northern Neck, down south quite a bit. And I don't know if that's an operation or not, but it's not, the times that my neighbors have objected to it, I think we've all been picking up red Solo cups in our front yard. But I kind of was reading the regs about no more than 7 days, no more than this, and the various things of use, and that's not how it's being used. It's a almost permanent, in fact, I went over, I do an annual Labor Day deal to get the neighbors together with a cookout, and I went over thinking the guy was the owner because the truck was there all the time, not the owner. So he's a renter, but the truck is there all the time. So there's kind of a miscue on between what you're trying to do on the short-term rentals and what is actually happening. And I don't know that you can pull tax records or whatever, but it's the same black GMC pickup truck and the same black trailer there. It's there 20 days a month. I mean, it left yesterday, and it'll be back next week. So I think you just need to be consistent on what's going on. And at any rate, that's all I got.
Thank you. Anyone else like to speak at this time? Glenn, is there anyone online?
No, sir.
Okay. All right, I move to close the public hearing.
Mr. Chairman, I got a question.
Yes.
I thought I heard one of the gentlemen said something about a covenant. Did y'all hear that?
I did.
So is there a HOA or is it, you know?
They can speak to it probably more than I can. My understanding is that there are covenants and restrictions against the property, but not a formal HOA that affects the property.
Mr. Cornwell, on the covenants, the county cannot enforce private covenants or conditions or HOA requirements or regulations. They are strictly between the parties. It can be enforced by the parties, but can't be enforced by the county.
So if the county, say, were to approve this, they could sue to
Sue
enjoin.
against the property owner, you know, for violating their covenants under deed. That would be their right and obligation. Also, the gentleman mentioned about maybe the property need to be rented, because we don't have any requirements, we don't have any limitations on rental of property.
Yeah, I was gonna ask that, can I ask that question to the owner? Do they rent somewhat permanent and temporary? Is that the situation you have currently?
Is the applicant online?
Is it currently being used as a short-term rental?
That's my understanding.
But we got specified days in that.
Right.
Yeah, so.
Yeah.
So they
They
could,
might, they could be there 2 months.
right.
You know.
But a long-term rental is a by right use.
Yeah.
I think we would be fine with a long-term rental. We know who's there. It's the weekends when people are coming and going that we have no clue. I've got young kids outside.
We have
We don't know who's there.
We have regulations relating to short-term uses. There's 2 pages or 3 pages of things they would read to do and not do. We do not have any regulations and cannot have any regulations on long-term rentals.
Well, the real purpose of the special exception process is to give people a process in order to file complaints or to mitigate any issues that would arise. To me, currently, there doesn't seem to be any police reports or current incidences that have gone on in that property. No one tonight has really mentioned anything of any real concern. It's just, I understand your concern in neighborhood concerns in
We
general.
called the police department on one exception because there was somebody staying there that left about 3 in the morning with a truck with no mufflers and woke my kids up when they came
room screaming. They were scared to death when the road's going on. So yes, we have.
If the board were to approve the special use permit, I would encourage the property owners to get a copy of the application, which is subject to the Freedom of Information Act, and look at the regulations and rules that they've agreed to abide by. If they violate those rules and regulations, to notify the county, and we will enforce those rules and regulations. We have before, we will again.
Mr. Chairman, you did close the public hearing. Mr. Bellows asked a question of the property owner, and I believe the property owner is online with his hand raised. I think it may be appropriate to, no, I think it's appropriate, since they are the applicant, that they be allowed to speak, but no other public comment since you have closed the public hearing. Yes, so, Mr. Longo, can you hear us?
Can you answer? Hello? Do you hear me? Sorry.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, we were a little muffled. We didn't hear everything, but it sounded like the question was, are we long-term or short-term rental? We do allow longer-term rentals, but they're for traveling nurses and contractors that are helping currently at the school that was commented today. But our average stay is under 7 days. We were actually in litigation with a few of the neighbors, so we can provide all that information. I didn't send it to Andrea, but that's all in there. And via the judge in the circuit court, we are not breaking our covenants.
Well, you executed an application for a short-term rental, and in doing so, you initialed that you would be subject to certain rules and regulations. You understand that?
Yes, sir.
And you will abide by those?
Yes, sir.
And if you don't, we're gonna come knocking.
I understand.
Sir, it's important that we protect our neighborhoods, and we want the operators of these to be good neighbors within their neighborhoods. So I expect you to not only follow the rules of the ordinance, but to be a good neighbor.
Yes, we're just trying to be law-abiding citizens, sir.
Mr. Longo, we have this special exception process so that we can police what's in our county. And fairly recently, there was an Airbnb that was not abiding by the rules, and we pulled their right to operate in the county. And so we take it extremely serious. When neighbors come to us and they're concerned about noise and kids and tall grass and long-term rentals and everything else I've heard, that we take that extremely serious. We love our county, and we want it to be a county that that is safe and receptive. I just want to make that clear.
Yeah, I understand. We don't think our grass is tall, but I think we're abiding by everything. We've actually, when we started this was a 6-person Airbnb due to the ability of us to do that, but we actually lowered it to 4 just because we heard the neighbors. And that was just, we thought that was something that was good and we should do that.
One other concern I would say is they've said they've called the police at some point on this property. Would need to follow up why that wasn't documented, perhaps. I don't know.
I would have to check with the dispatcher. If you could give me maybe after the date and time of that, I can check into that a little bit further.
We need to make sure that complaints are being documented properly.
That's the only way we can police it is through the documentations.
We gave Andrea a FOIA report that there was no police activity on our property since we had purchased it.
Yes, that's correct, and then I followed up with the dispatcher at the sheriff's office, and her email confirmed that. I don't know why. I'd have to speak with her as to why that was not documented.
They document the calls regardless of whether a deputy's dispatched.
Generally, I think so, yes. But I'd have to check further.
Can you follow up on that?
Yes, I'll get with Mr. Allen afterwards and ask him about the details, and I can look into that.
Okay. All right.
you know, I think they understand that I'm still hung back on this covenant, because if they got a covenant, then they got some protection, and it's on them to see if that covenant is broken, and then, you know,
Here's
go
the
through that
challenge.
process.
The challenge for us, Bill, is, yes, I know where you're headed with that, is that our obligation is not to look at covenants or.
We not,
They're really not.
I'm not saying that.
No,
I'm talking about
but-
the neighbors, you know, if
but
they
we-
sign the covenant.
But we approve, our job is to approve Airbnbs, and if they don't abide by the rules, we don't allow them here. So we've never turned down one, but we have
Turned down one.
Yeah, yes. Yeah, we did.
There was a long documented chain of police complaints
Activity.
and reports and activities on that one.
Okay, yeah,
Well, we
right,
never turned one down because of the covenants or
right.
the HOA,
yes.
because we can't enforce them.
That's right. So I'm saying that because I want to make sure they are clear on the actions they can take,
Yeah.
you know, if they have a covenant. Because this new landowner, homeowner, he signed the same covenant. He's under the same agreement that they under. So they got some action that they can take if they haven't already taken them.
This is Nicole Longo.
I'm sorry, we couldn't make out what you said.
I said if I may speak, this is Nicole Longo.
Yes, ma'am?
Just speaking to the covenants, like Sam already said, we've gone to the circuit courts over the covenants, and the courts have sided with twice that we are within our covenants and as landowners to operate a short-term rental. They have agreed with us that it is not considered commercial and a commercial enterprise, and we are within our covenant rights to continue operating.
Well, that's between the landowners and the homeowners, really. Any other further comments?
Nothing.
Okay. I'd move that we approve this under the conditions that the owner continue to follow all regulations, and that if any complaints be filed against this, we review this application again.
All right, you've heard the motion, gentlemen. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Thank you all. All right, next on our agenda is Olivia with required updates, proposed revisions to the Lancaster County Land Development Code, Part 1 Zoning Ordinance, Article 14-4, appeal to the Board of Zoning Appeals to comply with the update to the applicable Virginia State Code.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Olivia.
Jim Cornwell, County Attorney, recently sent an email to staff detailing the need to address language in the Code of Virginia 15.2-2311 appeals to the board, which states that any written notice of a zoning violation or a written order of the zoning administrator dated on or after July 1st, 1993 shall include a statement informing the recipient that he may have a right to appeal the notice of a zoning violation or a written order within 30 days in accordance with this section, and that the decision shall be final and unappealable if not appealed within 30 days. The zoning violation or written order shall include the applicable appeal fee and a reference to where additional information may be obtained regarding the filing of an appeal. The appeal period shall not commence until the statement is given and the zoning administrator's written order is sent by registered or certified mail with proof of delivery or posted at the last known address or usual place of abode of the property owner or its registered agent, if any. To facilitate this discussion, your packet includes a copy of the email from Jim Cornwell, County Attorney, regarding this necessary update, the applicable state code, the existing applicable county code to be changed, and the proposed amendments to Part 1 Zoning Ordinance, Article 14-4. This issue has been advertised as required by law. To date, county staff have not received any public comments. The request comes to the Board of Supervisors with a recommendation of approval 6-0 and a finding of good zoning practice by the Lancaster County Planning Commission. And if you'll notice, that's some new language that we are using. If you turn to page 2 in your packet, Jim had further opined that 15.2-2286 requires that in cases where the zoning change to the regulations is by the BOS or the Planning Commission, that the motion contain the specific findings of good zoning practice. So for this public hearing, I'm requesting when you make a motion, we put some cards up there for you with some sample language, should you choose to approve it. And then if you were to deny it, there's sample language for that as well. We're specifically asking you to add the language regarding a finding of good zoning practice. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
May I explain?
Thank you.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes.
What was, Jason, you may be aware of the saying about when the General Assembly is in session, no man's life, safety, or property is safe?
Hold your hats
Yeah.
and your wallets.
If the zoning administrator sends a notice of violation to a property owner, they are given the language in the notice of violation that you have 30 days in which to appeal that decision to the Board of Zoning Appeals. If you fail to appeal that decision to the Board of Zoning Appeals, the zoning administrator's decision is a thing decided and cannot be later challenged. So what happens is we send you a notice of violation, has that language in it, then you don't obey, you do not comply with the request of the instructions of the zoning administrator. We go to court. I walk into court and say, Judge, they got the notice of violation, they didn't appeal to the BZA. You basically have to enter the order. I mean, I don't even need any evidence. It's just the way it is. Well, the General Assembly, I guess, somebody complained to somebody, and they said, well, we didn't get the letter from the zoning administrator. So they changed the statute now to require the letter be sent by registered mail, return receipt requested, and we to have the receipt or otherwise posted on the property. So that's why we need to change this language, because I think what Olivia and I have walked through is we're probably going to go to posting, and we're probably going to go to even service by the Sheriff's Department of these notices. Because otherwise, we lose the advantage of being right. You know, we lose the advantage of the decision. We have an interesting case pending in which we didn't get the notice back, and the people say they never got it. I think I'm okay because when I sued them, I put the notices in the suit papers, so they got it. You know, so, but we'll see what Judge Martin says about that. But the worst that can happen is we have to prove our case, and we can prove our case. So, but I'm trying to go through here. You know, every time the General Assembly meets, they change something. I'm trying to go through here and bring up our code so that we can have the code to say what the General Assembly says.
When do we decide to send a deputy out versus mail it out?
I think that's going to have to be Olivia's decision.
Is that an administrative decision to decide, like, is it how egregious it is or what?
Well, so far, when I have asked for personal service, it has been because I've mailed the letter and did not get receipt as a certified mail. So I did get the card back, but they either refused to sign for it or it just never happened. And in that case, I'll go ahead and ask for personal service. I haven't had an instance yet where I start with personal service.
And the county does not pay service fees. So we have people that own property here in Mechanicsville, Hanover, all over the state. So we can send it to the sheriff in that locality for service, and we don't pay a service fee on it. So that's one good thing.
It's one way to make it seem a little bit more serious when a deputy hands you papers at your house.
Yes. So anyway, Board, I recommend this change to the code.
All right. You've heard the discussion here. We will open up the public hearing at this time. And I move that the public hearing be open. Would anyone like to comment? Seeing nobody? Anybody online, Glenn?
Everybody's interested in this is you, Mr. Paul.
All right.
That's right, because I'm the guy that's got to go to court.
Nobody. I move that we close the public hearing.
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion that we approve the proposed changes to the applicable zoning code with the findings of good zoning practices.
All right. You've heard the motion. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. All right, Ms. Hall, you're up again.
Guess we need to have little smiley faces we can hold up.
I was gonna say, was this a positive recommendation?
Yes. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Our next public hearing is to discuss proposed revisions to the Lancaster County Land Development Code, Part 4, Chesapeake Bay Preservation Ordinance to comply with the required resiliency updates to the Virginia CBPA Model Ordinance. This request comes to the Board of Supervisors with a recommendation of approval 6-0 and a finding of good zoning practice by the Lancaster County Planning Commission. The Chesapeake Bay Preservation Act, the Bay Act, and accompanying state regulations were recently amended to address resiliency. BDQ has provided a model ordinance to assist localities in implementation of the required changes. This model ordinance was derived from several existing local ordinances as well as the current guidance documents, including the resiliency guidance, to provide a full Bay Act ordinance consisting of both existing requirements and new requirements. The provided full ordinance was intended to allow localities to consider additional provisions, to include in any revisions, and to provide context for the new requirements in a standard ordinance framework. To facilitate this discussion, your packet includes a copy of the model ordinance and a copy of the proposed amendments to Lancaster County Land Development Code Part 4, our CBPA ordinance. These revisions have been reviewed and approved by the county's VDEQ Bay Act liaison. This issue has been advertised as required by law. To date, county staff have not received any public comments. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Olivia. Jim, would you like to translate for us?
Yeah, I didn't do this one. Okay. This is just brought to your attention because of changes in the Code of Virginia.
Okay. All right. Anyone have any questions before we open up the public hearing? Seeing none, I move that the public hearing now be open. Would anyone like to speak on this matter? All right, seeing none, is there anyone online, Glenn?
No, sir.
All right, I move that we close the public hearing.
Mr. Chairman, I move that we adopt the revision to the Lancaster County Land Development Code, Part 4, Chesapeake Bay Preservation Ordinance to comply with the required resiliency update to the Virginia CBPA Model Ordinance.
All right. You've heard the motion. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, smiley face. Motion carries. All right.
Mr. Chairman, I move that consensus docket be approved.
All right. You've heard the motion. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, motion carries. Next thing on our agenda is salaries and invoices for April.
Mr. Chairman, I move that we approve the expenditures for the month of April in the amounts of total invoices, $3,120,350.15, of which payroll was $488,150.96, for a total of $3,608,501.11, of which capital improvements were $2,393,056.77.
All right, gentlemen, you've heard the motion. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, motion carries. All right, next item on our agenda is Ms. Hall with consideration of setting a public hearing date for creation of a legacy zoning district LR2 to replace a previously repealed R2 zoning district.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Yes, ma'am.
County staff have received feedback from the community that the repealed Article 6 Residential Apartment District R2 is affecting property owners' ability to use their properties as desired. Staff have also experienced issues with the repealed R2 zoning district, as properties originally zoned R2 were not rezoned to a different district when the R2 zoning was repealed. These properties are still technically zoned R2 and must comply with the language of the R2 zoning, which is problematic as the permissible uses for the repealed zoning cannot be updated. County staff also frequently field questions from real estate agents and potential buyers regarding the implications of parcels which are located in a repealed R2 zone. To address these concerns and effectively enforce county zoning code requirements, county staff are proposing the creation of a legacy zoning district. A legacy zoning district is a zoning district created to manage and protect an established area that was developed under a previously repealed ordinance. No property in the county can be rezoned into a legacy zoning district. Based on this, the legacy zone district would only apply to parcels that are already zoned R2. The proposed changes are intended to alleviate the concerns listed above. The proposed changes also include the addition of street design regulations, which would require future modifications to master plans to require all street and right-of-ways to conform to VDOT standards for street acceptance, including a minimum right-of-way of 50 feet in width for connecting streets. This language is included to address public safety concerns regarding the ability of fire trucks to utilize the roads and turn around where necessary. Also included are the changes recommended by Don Gill, County Administrator, and Planning Commission members at a previous meeting. Including in your packet is the repealed Article 6 Residential Apartment District R2 and the proposed Legacy Residential District LR2 language. This issue has been advertised as required by law. At the time of the drafting of this memo, the county had not received any public comments. This issue was before the Planning Commission, and they provided a recommendation of approval 6-0 with a finding of good zoning practice at their previous meeting. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you.
I have a question.
Yes, sir.
You mentioned that this legacy zoning is impeding people from doing what they want with their property.
The repealed R2 zoning is impeding people.
So if they're in an R2, then and they can't do what they want to do, why wouldn't they just come to the board and ask for a rezoning?
They could.
They could, but the problem is, a lot of these properties are on the waterfront, and the use that they have, there's no other zoning district that will accommodate them. For example, the R4 district has multifamily uses permitted, but it cannot be located within 800 feet of tidal waters. So we have these waterfront properties, mainly R2. You've got the townhomes down at Windmill Point. You've got High Banks. You've got
Sloop Point.
Sloop Point.
The other question to this is then how is it, because I know one of the things that when we did the short-term rental, this didn't apply in that district. How would that be applied to this new district?
That's correct. So once we have legacy R2 zoning, we can actually make changes to the proposed permissible uses in that zone as long as we go through that public hearing process. So we can add short-term rentals as a permissible use.
Or ban it?
Or not allow it.
Or not allow it.
Right, or not allow it. So as it stands now in R2, you can't add or take away any permissible uses.
Is that what some of the people are trying to do, is
Correct.
Airbnb? Or is that what they're wanting this legacy change for?
That's correct.
This is basically a housekeeping measure that really should have been thought out and handled back when R2 was repealed, because we have R2 zoning, but we don't have any regulations for the R2 because we repealed the ordinance regulating R2.
So it sounds like once we go forward and create it, then we have to like put some details behind it. Is that what you're saying?
It'll be the standard zoning ordinance.
Yeah.
It'll be what you.
Meaning like you could have a discussion on whether we allow Airbnbs in it. Right.
Yeah.
Correct.
And basically, Mr. Bellows, this is really not for the applicants. This is basically for county staff to have some sort of enforcement to the existing R2 properties. Because right now, we don't.
And it does come up weekly with real estate agents and people looking to purchase property when they have questions, you know, what does this mean, a repealed zone, and am I zoned, and what am I allowed to do?
Old zoning is mostly a multi-family style kind of?
Yeah, it's multifamily uses. It was governed by the approval of a master plan. And so, I'm just using it for instance, Hills Quarter is R2. It's not on the water, but it is R2. And Jimmy Carter came before you a year or so ago for a revision to that master plan to add those additional lots to Hills Quarter. That was the only way that we could bring that, because that was part of the repealed R2 zoning, but it was governed by that approved master plan. So, you know, that's still the case. What you will see if you choose to set a public hearing date for this, you'll see a lot of the language from the old R2 zoning district in the new LR2 with some additions. And Olivia mentioned that I had suggested one addition. That was simply county-sanctioned public facilities, because that is a by right use in every one of our zoning districts, but somehow it got left out of the old R2. So I figured, why not take this opportunity and add that to the LR2? You'll have to have a discussion on whether you want to allow short-term rentals unhosted in the LR2. But like I said, it gives county staff a way of enforcing the existing
So I
properties
guess the history of repealing that zoning was to limit high-density.
on the waterfront.
Private
Yep.
development.
Back in June of 2005, I believe.
We
So
talked
when
about,
when it came to the planning commission, I understood it this way, that they're in R2. R2 was appeal, done away with, but nothing else was. So there was nothing new set up, and everything that was in R2 really just went away. There's nothing you can enforce.
Exactly.
Because it doesn't exist.
The only thing we can enforce is the master plan that was approved for these developments, and that's why we brought these revisions.
I thought that's the way I understood it.
They're more in limbo.
It's in limbo, yes.
The reason we're here asking for you to set a hearing is because of the number of parcels will probably trigger additional advertising requirements and notification to all the property owners who are in R2.
Do we know how many parcels are R2?
I think we do.
We do. Andrea, do you know off the top of your head? I know we had,
It was close to 900.
That's a lot.
wow, it is a lot.
So that's why.
But they just out there swinging.
Yeah.
So that's why we need you to set a hearing, because we're gonna have to advertise it. There's a lot of advertising requirement, as well as notification to property owners.
well, we talked about this when we were looking for property for the school. And so we gave you some direction then to come up with a plan, and I guess this is your plan, the county's plan. So we're here, and it's something we need to do.
So this is setting a public hearing date for us, not going back to the planning.
No, Planning Commission has already conducted their public hearing. They have forwarded this to the board, and what was the vote?
Do we need
6 to
set a date
0.
for the public hearing? They tell you a meeting to set it for?
Yes,
Is that
I
what you
mean,
want?
yeah, that's what we want. We want you to give us what meeting you want to consider this at
For the
public hearing.
900 people to come in.
I was gonna say-
So we don't want it from May.
How much lead time do they need to get prepared for?
We're gonna need
The tax thing is next meeting. Let's do it in June.
Yeah, that's what I said. You don't want it next week.
Yeah,
3 months.
I'd say June.
July?
June, be
I'd
good?
say, yeah, June or a little bit later, get in that lull time there.
July,
Yeah.
is that good for y'all? What do y'all
Would
want?
that give them enough time? I mean, that sounds like a lot of work to me. but
Well,
I don't know.
I think Andrea has already identified all the properties.
Yep.
She's got a spreadsheet, but,
But then under the statute, we have to
Yeah.
do more advertisements.
yeah. So there's no way that we can just automatically take the existing R2 properties and say, you will be,
You could do that. I would be in court for a while. No, we can't do that.
That's July.
Yeah.
July.
See, if it's 25 parcels or more, you have additional advertising requirements, and da, da, da.
So we'd have to come up with all these allowed uses for that.
I move that we set the public hearing for July.
All right?
Starting at noon.
You heard the motion to set it for July. Do we need that approval? Do we need a motion?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, so all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Thank you. All right, next item here is approval of the revised charter agreement for the chief local elected officials of the Bay Consortium Local Workforce Development Area.
Mr. Chairman, this is basically a housekeeping item.
That's what I...
Yeah, the Bay Consortium Local Workforce Development Council and the Hampton Roads Workforce Council are in the final stages of a realignment process, and it will adjust our region from 16 jurisdictions to 15 because we'll be losing Accomack and Northampton and gaining Gloucester. So as part of this transition, all 15 jurisdictions need to review and approve this updated charter agreement.
Okay.
Mr. Chairman, I move that we approve the revised charter agreement for the chief local elected officials of the Bay Consortium Local Workforce Development Area.
All right, you've heard the motion. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. All right, next, last item on our agenda is discussion of appointments of open positions. Does anyone have anything to add there?
I don't have any appointments, but I just have a comment to make. I shared with you all some design ideas for a potential monument to commemorate America 250 for Lancaster County. I'd like us to pursue that to some degree, to see what we can do to do that, to honor America's 250th anniversary here in Lancaster County.
So are you proposing we put that on the agenda maybe for the next meeting, or what action?
Give it to move it to August.
I'm more actually to see if y'all are interested in me pursuing this further, and I think we can tap sort of some of our resource committees, perhaps get our historical resources committee up and moving on something like that.
Okay.
I'm certainly in favor of that.
Yeah, I would be too.
I'll bring it back next month and see if I can move it forward.
Okay, and the income, not income, payment?
We'll have to figure that out. Cost and where the cost would be board by.
Any funds, grants, anything out there for
There's
this?
possibility, yeah.
We can look into that. Through the Department of Historic
Look into that
Resources.
for me.
Yeah, I will.
Maybe someone will throw a wallet at us.
With some money.
You let people
But I think
know we take
it's a good moment
contributions.
to take the honor to do something like that.
I think so.
Yeah.
Well, I'll just add one comment. You know, it is America's 250th birthday, but Lancaster County is actually much older than that. Lancaster County will actually be 375. So maybe we could tie that into that as well.
Yeah, some of the design ideas were basically like show how Lancaster County contributed to the history of America.
Yeah.
And honor that. We have a long history here of
Yes.
some of the founders and lots of people who have done lots of good things.
You looking at us during this meeting?
Including this board.
Statues of the board members.
All right, Don, do you have an administrator report?
Just a couple, well, actually three things. John mentioned earlier, Monday at 3 p.m., a groundbreaking at Taylor Creek. If you have not put that in your calendars, please do so, so that we can all be there for that.
Every time he says one of those reminders, I'm like, that must be better, Mr. Henry. When is it, next Monday?
This coming Monday, April 27th at 3 p.m. And so maybe we'll have the shovels there, but maybe we'll also have some, maybe excavator or something in the background, bulldozer or something that we can add to the picture. Also, we are in the early stages of pursuing the same type of camera setup at Harpers Creek that we have at Windmill Point. Our plan is to do the same type of camera setup at each of our parks as they come online. And one thing I didn't mention during John's update on the parks, he was mentioning about the Commonwealth Transportation Board grant for that phase of the Triway Trail. And we mentioned that things are moving now on the Chesapeake Trail, and I just wanted to remind you all that Olivia had gotten a recreational trails grant for Chesapeake Trail. It was $220-some thousand, I think. We're doing better with grants than we ever had before, and the public should know that all this money is not coming from the general fund. We're out there trying to find as much free money as we can.
Good job, everybody. Good job. Is there any necessity for a closed meeting tonight?
I'm not aware of any.
Okay.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes, sir.
May I ask if Mr. Bellis would amend his motion for the public hearing on the Legacy R2 to the August board meeting instead of July?
Okay. Are you good with that?
For Mr. Cornwell, I suppose I'll let that happen. I move that I amend the motion on the legacy zoning to be in August instead of July.
All right. You've heard the motion. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Thank you.
You gonna take me to Italy with you now?
All right, is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
All right, all in favor, say aye. Aye. Thank you, gentlemen.